Pretty impressive start to ACC league play for Duke men's basketball. Can this continue? What are the realistic expectations moving forward for Duke? How about a fill-in-the-blank Friday for you? Coming up here on Locked On Blue Devils.
Hi, everybody. Dick Vitale. Hey, make sure you listen, man, to Locked On Blue Devils with J.J. Jackson. He's awesome, baby.
You are Locked On Blue Devils, your daily podcast on the Duke Blue Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the Locked On Blue Devils podcast. My name is J.J. Jackson. So great to have you here with us today on Friday, January 23rd, 2026. Locked On Blue Devils is your one-stop shop where we discuss everything going on inside the life of Duke athletics. And on today's show, we've got a good one for you. As our pal Kevin Connelly's here with us on the program, we're going to do some fill-in-the-blanks about this Duke basketball team. We'll look ahead to the weekend against Wake Forest and so much more. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to follow and subscribe to Locked On Blue Devils for free, wherever it is that you get your podcast. Go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating and written review. Take a moment, if you will, like this video, share it with your friends, and watch our show each and every day on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and a special shout out to everybody that's a part of our Everydayer community. I love people that are in that club with us. In the Everydayer Club, of course, a great opportunity to get more involved and connected with us here at Locked On Blue Devils. So without further ado, let's bring Kevin Connelly on into the program. Kevin, the time is greatly appreciated, man. It is good to see you once again. And look, the week is almost over. It's been a long week without Duke basketball in our lives. No midweek game for Duke, but they'll be back in action soon enough.
And they'll be back sooner than you originally thought, with the game getting pushed up to 12 o'clock. So if you're counting down the hours, you could shave about 4.5 off those.
Yeah, that's the one noteworthy piece of information we can give since yesterday morning's show came out, is that due to the inclement weather likely making its way through the United States and certainly impacting those in North Carolina, they have moved the game up to a noon Eastern tip-off. So we'll get to watch Duke and Wake Forest play a little bit sooner than advertised. Talked about it a little bit yesterday, looking at this game before we get into our first fill-in-the-blank here, Kev. The long layoff that Duke had between their games between December 6th and December 16th. They came back and played that game against Lipscomb, and then Duke had another long one. Texas Tech lost on the 20th, didn't play again until that Georgia Tech game on the 31st. An 11-day layoff there. Duke was slow out of the gates against Georgia Tech in a game like that. I'm curious if we'll see kind of a similar slow start in this Wake Forest game, knowing good and well that Duke had their best start to a game all year with how early they got after Stanford their last time out.
Yeah, listen, I think those two other long breaks that you mentioned have to be viewed in a different light than this. I mean, this is only, I guess it ends up as 6 days or something like that, 5 days. But the other ones, I mean, you're coming off of a gauntlet of a stretch. You're in exam week. You're kind of mentally and physically worn out. And then the other, you get to go home for a couple of days, spend time with family during the holidays, and maybe you're not fully locked all the way back in. So I certainly think the two different layoffs, the two that you mentioned, and then this one have to be viewed differently. So I'm not expecting that big of a drop off or a lot of rust to build up over these 5 or 6 days for Duke.
Without a doubt, we'll see how they come out against this Wake Forest team that's going to be upset-minded, but Duke fortunately playing inside the friendly confines of Cameron Indoor, looking to pick up their 7th league win of the season. So let's get after it. Let's talk about Duke with 6 wins to open up ACC play. Our first fill-in-the-blank. Again, we'll put these down in the description of the video. I'd love to know what people think of the comments below. Duke's chances of going undefeated in conference play are blank. What word do you think best fits this, Kevin?
Decent.
Okay, I like it.
I mean, it's still tough to tell because, like, I mean, you look at the schedule and you still have, I mean, some difficult games on paper. Like, you still played Louisville, you still played Virginia Tech, and we know historically Castle Coliseum has been a tough place for this program to play. You still have to go to North Carolina. I know Pitt's been dreadful this year, and Jeff Capel could very well be on the hot seat, but I'm sure that place will be sold out and rocking when Duke comes to town on a late night on a Tuesday. Like, you still have to go to NC State. So like there's still games that it's like, yeah, I can see them getting tripped up in a situation like this. So like, I'll change my answer to decent, but not likely.
Okay, I'll accept it. Look, I that's a little bit more optimistic than I would go, and that's saying a whole lot for the always optimistic JJ Jackson, as people know when they listen to the show each and every day. Slim came to mind instantly for me, just given how hard the league is and how hard it is to win each and every one of these games. It was a great Duke team a season ago, and even those Blue Devils couldn't quite go undefeated, finishing 19-1. 2 less games this year. That's another angle here, Kevin. So, in essence, you're a third of the way there with an undefeated run in conference play with Duke going 6-0. But I just feel like there's probably a game where a slip comes up for this Duke team. I hope that's not the case because they've been playing really good ball as of late. But who knows? A third of the way there, playing really good basketball. It's good to be the only unbeaten. And this is also interesting, Kevin, because earlier in the week, we saw NC State knock off Clemson in overtime, therefore meaning Duke is the only remaining unbeaten team in conference play. So if the ACC as a whole wants to have an undefeated team this year, it's only Duke that could still check that off.
Yeah, listen, I mean, if you're playing the odds, you're going to say that it's not likely that they finish ACC play unbeaten. Even as great as last year's team was, they didn't finish ACC play unbeaten, losing at Clemson. And so yeah, it's difficult. You have an off night every so often, and a team could get you. So I think the games that they've played, some of the road games they've played, at Louisville and the California swing, certainly it's good to get by those games unbeaten. But yeah, with the road games they have, I would say they still have a decent chance to finish unbeaten, but those chances I think are still slim.
All right, let's keep going. Fill in the blank here today on this Locked On Blue Devils. If Duke doesn't sweep Carolina this year, you will feel blank. It's been a good run for Jon Scheyer against those boys in Chapel Hill.
Fine, decent, neutral. If you're, certainly everybody hopes for a sweep every year, right? That's what you hope for going into the season, but you can't expect it, right? And Duke's been on a hot stretch as of late. We know at times North Carolina has gotten hot, so it would be great if they did, but I don't think that's something you can necessarily expect, especially with North Carolina. It seems like they have a decent team. Maybe they match up well on the inside with Duke. I know their defense has really struggled over these last couple of weeks, but they still got a formidable team there. You still got to go play them on the road, and it's always a difficult game. So, yeah, if Duke doesn't sweep, I don't think I'll lose much sleep over it.
Yeah, in a way, it's like that. I feel like we're back in, humbled reality, whatever I'm looking for here. It's 3 wins a season ago. It's not every single year that you run into them as well in the conference tournament, and that's exactly what Duke did a season ago, and that team was able to win all 3 meetings against the North Carolina Tar Heels. Of course, so many of these thoughts are sent to us from our loyal listeners, and people always want to beat Carolina when you can. And it's been fun to see Duke go at it against those guys. And so hopefully Duke will be able to win both of the meetings. Looking back through the series under head coach Jon Scheyer, his first season, he won both of the matchups against North Carolina. In year 2, lost both of the matchups. And then this past season, won all 3 matchups. So we've yet to see kind of a split of the UNC series under Coach Scheyer's leadership. I wonder if this is the year where something like that takes place. Yeah,
listen, that's a kind of a crazy trend that it's been a sweep one way or another since Jon Scheyer has taken over as the head coach. But like I said, it's a rivalry. You never know what's going to happen when the games begin. You throw the record books out the window, and the games are always fun, and they usually always live up to the hype. So looking forward to that in a couple of weeks.
All right, fill in the blank. We've got several more that we want to get to here on this episode of Locked On Blue Devils. We step aside for our first time out on the program and continue the conversation here in just a moment. Locked On Blue Devils here today is brought to you by our friends at TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. A huge time saver and gives you real peace of mind. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. TurboTax is a proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. Hanging out with me today on the show is Kevin Connelly. I'm JJ Jackson. Fill in the blank on this Friday episode of Locked On Blue Devils. How about this? Let's move forward. Let's talk about Duke's best player, Cam Boozer. Cam Boozer's most underrated quality is blank. Kevin, what do you think looking at Cam Boozer's skill set? What direction do you want to go?
I think I have to go with his passing. I mean, this is a guy that averages 4 assists per game, and it's certainly not talked about, right?
Yeah.
You talk about his scoring. You talk about what he does on the defensive glass and the backboards. Nobody talks about his playmaking abilities. And he's not a Cooper Flagg who brings the ball up the floor off a made shot. So, yeah, I think it certainly has to be his passing that stands out the most to me.
So I had a conversation with Josh Cox on last week's show talking about his really impressive rebounding ability. And obviously the scoring is something that we talk about a ton. And Josh made the note that, one of the big reasons he is such a great rebounder is because of his hands, like really strong with the basketball. And I started to really notice that as of late, the strength that he's got in cleaning up the glass. But I'm going to go in a different direction. This, Kevin, is not talked about enough. But how about his conditioning to be that size and averaging 33 minutes per game on the season? In some ways, I'm a little surprised by that, Kev. I feel like traditionally you'd seen a player with his body makeup getting adjusted to the college game and not being able to be up. There are games where you look, and Cameron Boozer has played 37, 38 minutes of the whole thing. And it hasn't had any major cramping issues, knock on wood, from stars we've seen in the past. That just came to mind, but I kind of like it. I'm going to lock that in. His conditioning, a really, really underrated quality for Cameron Boozer.
Listen, I never thought about it. You were the first guy that I even, at least in my mind, came up with that. So, I think that's a really, really good point that you make there because, yeah, I don't think you necessarily think about a player like that being out there all the time. You look at more of the statistical numbers and the points, rebounds, assists, blocks. I mean, he plays great defensively as well. So, yeah, that's a really good point, JJ. You opened my mind to something I wasn't thinking about.
Well, and then just also we've had so much conversation, Kevin, about this front court and the concern that foul trouble may have and injuries that have played out. Shout out to Ife Ufuchukwu, who's out for the rest of the year. Like if Duke needed to go break glass in case of emergency, they wouldn't even be able to do that in the front court now that our guy Iffy is out for the year. So I think it's something that definitely needs to be discussed in regards to Cam Boozer because I love his ability to be available. Your best ability is availability, as so many people like to say. And so the fact Cameron Boozer's been able to do that, got to give him some love, man.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that he's able to be out there and you know what you're going to get on a consistent basis from him, I think is great. And the fact that Duke has had to rely on him so much this year.
Indeed.
And there's so much pressure on him basically on every possession to perform, right? And the fact that he's able to log that many minutes out there, I think is a really good point that you bring up.
All right, let's go to the next one. The Duke-Michigan game next month will tell you blank. I can get us started here. I can look at this game for Duke, and I think it absolutely will tell you if Duke is positioned to go on another deep March Madness run and really solidify how you feel about that. I feel good already, but again, you get locked into these conference games. Duke is going to have a couple of games down the stretch here, like you said, against teams who there is no reality where they make the NCAA tournament, but Michigan continues to be one of the absolute best. I think Michigan throughout the course of this year is holding up better than Illinois was a season ago when we were really excited about that kind of February game. So, I'm still excited to get there next month.
Yeah, so I'll react to that first. I mean, yeah, Illinois, they were really good, I think, if I remember correctly, to begin the season, and Duke caught them at a really good time in February.
Yep.
And they were kind of leaking oil, and kind of fell apart late in the season. Your question here, my fill in the blank, the Duke Michigan game next month will tell me. I feel like I can go a lot of ways in this direction, but I'm gonna say, kind of similar to your path. Like I'm trying to make the sentence be grammatically correct, but the Duke Michigan game will tell me basically how legit this team is,
Sure.
right? And we think they're legit because we saw them early in the non-conference, and they won all those games. They should have won the Texas Tech game. They kind of blew it late. But like even in these ACC games, aside from the game against Cal and Stanford, where nice wins, you're on the road, but when you watch them play, it's like they don't impress you, if that makes sense.
Sure.
They're winning. And that's great. That's the greatest skill and quality a team can have. But sometimes when you watch them, it's like, ooh, this is a rough half. This is a rough 25 minutes. And then they play a really good 15 minutes. And you're like, oh, nice, they won. Like it's like so.
This Stanford game was the first time they really. I see what you're saying. Totally. I mean, the Stanford game was the first time we really felt that.
Exactly. Where like they played start to finish, and you were like, wow, this is a great game.
30-point win.
Yeah. Like you could say the same thing against Michigan State. You're on the road, hostile environment. Like I thought they played a really solid 40 minutes there. Florida obviously got out to the big lead, had a lapse, and then hit the shot down the end. Same thing with Arkansas. Like they had a lapse in the middle of that game as well when the Razorbacks in the second half made a push at them. So like, yeah, it's. I think this game against Michigan in about a month's time is going to tell you how legit they are.
I love it. All right, let's move on to our next one. We're excited about that game because it's February 22nd, I want to say, is the game. So basically like a month from now is when we'll see both of these teams play it out. All right, the thing that would prevent Duke from winning the national championship would be blank. What do you think that is?
I still think it's guard play, man.
Sure.
I really do. And I feel like we might have done a fill in the blank in August, and that might have been the question, and that probably was my answer.
Pretty certain it was. Yeah, I think it was over the summer and in the spring. Like, yeah, we've been thinking about guard play with this team for a while.
Yeah, and it was my answer, and it's still my answer, especially now because Caleb Foster over the last 3 games has been on the roller coaster, and he hadn't been on the roller coaster all season. But you go scoreless, you have 9, and you go scoreless again. And then it's like, uh-oh, are we going down a path that we were down last year? We've highlighted the struggles Dame Sarr has scoring the basketball. Do you really want to put all this faith and trust in your backcourt and a freshman in Cayden Boozer, who's a really nice player, but he's not a Con Knipple. He's not a Quinn Cook, he's not a Tyus Jones, if you get what I'm saying. So I still think it's going to come down to guard play because you have a feeling you know what you're going to get every night from Cameron Boozer. You have a feeling you know you're going to get some real good post play with Pat Gongba. And I know Isaiah Evans is streaky, but
he's still turned the corner. Yep.
And you're going to go down with him, right? Like even against Florida, whatever he was, 0-7, 0-8, he still got the shot at the end of the game, and he came through. Like you're still going to go down with the ship in Isaiah Evans if he doesn't have a big night in an NCAA tournament game. It's sometimes you don't know what you're getting out of that backcourt. So that's why I'm going to say the guards.
I think the guards is the way to go. I think, the obvious answer is injuries, right? If there's a major injury that takes place to someone, this team's going to be really hurt. I think even on the wings, like if Sarr or Herminia it's already a shorthanded number, given the fact that Sebastian Wilkins is redshirting this season and just where Duke has been, not as many Darren Harris minutes and that sort of thing. I think also the thing that would prevent Duke from winning the national championship would be a decline in shooting percentage from the outside. It certainly hasn't been as dynamic as it was a year ago. There have been ups and downs throughout the course of this season. You really can't afford to fall off much more, I don't think, once you get to March. Because all it takes to win a national championship, all it takes is one really bad shooting night and a really good shooting performance from your opponent, and you're done. It's no series. If Duke were playing 7-game series against everybody else in the sport, every year a program like Duke, you feel good about their chances just given the talent. But in these 1-game scenarios, man, this team, I think, has got to improve that percentage number down the stretch. And free throw shooting, like we talk about.
Yeah, I think free throw shooting more than 3-point percentages because, again, like at a certain point, the team has to adjust. And I think you saw that the past couple of games. If they're not hitting threes, you got two beasts down low that can go score the basketball in Cam Boozer and Pat Gongla. So, like, you have to realize if shots aren't going in from the outside, get the ball inside to two all ACCers. One is the National Player of the Year and Cam Boozer. Like, that has to be a quick adjustment in a win-or-go-home game. But, to add to your point, man, NCAA tournament is one of the hardest championships to win because it is 6 one-and-done games.
Right.
I mean, the only postseason that is like that, now college football can say that they're somewhat like that in this new playoff format, but like the NFL, where the NFL, you have a bad night and you lose, you're out. The NBA, the NHL, yes, they're very difficult, but if you have a bad night, you could still overcome it and win a series. NCAA tournament, that's what makes it so magical. It's an elimination game every time you step on the floor.
Yep, no doubt. We love it, and hopefully it's a Duke team that's set for another deep March Madness run. All right, we've got just a few more fill-in-the-blanks that we want to get to as we wind down this Friday episode of Locked On Blue Devils. We will continue our conversation here in a moment. Locked On Blue Devils here today is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like the most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. You make your picks, then apply your profit boosts to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. FanDuel is a proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. All right, my guy Kevin Connelly with us here. We've got a few more minutes left in our show today, looking at these fill-in-the-blank topics for Duke basketball. Play Wake Forest tomorrow. Again, the game has been moved up to noon Eastern as Duke looks to go 7-0 in league play this season. All right, next one. Duke can improve their blank going forward. Self-evaluation this time of year, always important, Kevin. I think there are several different directions we can go. Where do you want to go? Duke can improve their what?
I don't know if they can, but I'm going to say more if it's a hope and kind of off the point that you just made, free throw shooting.
Yeah.
Like, can they improve their free throw shooting at this point? I don't know, because I feel like in late January, you kind of are what you are. Like, I don't know if you can be a 75% team from the free throw line or an 87% team from the free throw line over the next month and a half of the season. Can you? Yeah, sure. But I think if I have to give an answer about on court, I think that's what they can improve going forward.
Without a doubt, they've got to make sure to improve that. Clearly cost them in so many games this year. They've, shot less than 50% from the free throw line in some individual games, which is just lousy, and yet still found ways to win. So down the stretch, you don't want that to be the reason. Like we said, you get eliminated from a game like that. And practice, it's so hard to replicate those pressure situations and whatnot, but got to find a way to get in the clutch when it comes to the free throw line. So definitely want to see what Duke can do in that regard. I've got another one, though. Duke can improve their blank going forward. I want to talk about fast break execution, Kevin, because 2 of the last 3 games, we've seen Duke scoreless in the fast break points department, which is crazy. And there have been some other lower total games, and yet when you watch Duke in the open court, they're able to move the basketball and score. Just sometimes it hasn't always been there. Like, that is something that has been really kind of eye-opening, that, wow, some 0 fast break points. That is something this team, with this makeup of players, the guards that can get downhill, Cam Boozer carrying the basketball himself all the way to the rack, I think that's something that can improve. Cayden Boozer loving to push tempo the way he does. What do you think of that?
I think it's a good point. And the fact that they went scoreless on fast break opportunities in those 2 games, and they turned the opposition over, I think, 15 plus times in each of those games. So, that's something that has to improve as well. Get easy run out baskets, and eventually over the course of a game, they certainly add up.
All right, keep letting us know down in the comments below. Who are you siding with, me or Kevin? Do you have a better fill-in-the-blank idea as we keep moving forward with the game today? All right, so up to this point, blank is the player you want to see develop another year at Duke.
I think this is an easy one. Dame Sarr.
Okay.
I kind of highlighted it earlier in the week. He's great defensively. I think his offense needs a lot of work. Certainly, there was a lot of hype around him coming over, playing professionally in Italy, and then coming over to college basketball. It was lottery pick buzz, and I'll be honest, I haven't seen it. Now, I mean, and the NBA drafts off of potential, so like I still think he has a high ceiling and high potential. He's still young enough, I believe. I think he's just 18 years old.
Yep.
So he still has the age if he wants to stick around and be a sophomore. But I still think with his size, with the ability he has to potentially shoot the ball well from the outside, I think Dame Sarr is the slam dunk answer here to this question.
Yeah, well, okay. That said, go ahead. I want to put you on the spot then here and make the case, same regard for Nick Kamenya, wanting to see Nick develop for another year at Duke. Make that case.
Yeah, well, listen, I said, especially coming after the Michigan State game, I think Kamenya is going to be one of those players that probably should be a 2 to 3 year player at Duke, and you're only going to see him get better. This year could be a really good role player. Next year, probably a starter, even though they have a really talented freshman class coming in, probably a starter. Junior year could be like a preseason ACC player of the year type, as long as he continues to fill out, continues to grow, gets a little bit more athletic, gets a little bit faster, because you've seen what he can do. He loves to stick his nose in there and fight for tough rebounds. So Kamenya certainly could be an answer to this. But personally, I see Kamenya as maybe even a 3-year player. Now, who am I to say that? I'm not an NBA talent evaluator. I know some of these mock drafts that are really out there for clicks.
Yeah, some of them are all over the place.
Yeah, like even him and a Cayden Boozer. Like, I don't see Cayden Boozer playing in the NBA next year. I don't know about you.
I don't either. Yeah.
But like, will he, because Cameron's obviously going, does Cayden go as well? So like, there's still things to fill out, and these are conversations we can have in jest at the end of January. But yeah, Dame Sarr, Nick Kamenya, I think are two really solid options. I think Cayden Boozer is a solid option too, because where's Duke going to be at point guard next year? Duron Rippey, is he a legitimate point guard option for this team? Is he a combo guard? Jordan Smith Jr., what happens with him? So like, I think there's a lot of questions to answer about next year's roster that, to be honest, the coaching staff, like, even though they're focused on the season, they still have to have some of those conversations during this time of the year as well.
Yeah, I think Sarr is a good direction to go with a player you want to see develop another year at Duke. All these guys, I'd love to be able to go because, like you said, I feel great about Cameron Boozer taking his step to the next level at the NBA. But so really, I think we're there. 5 freshmen on the team this year, Kevin, and 4 of them were in agreement need to come back for another year.
And what are the odds
Wilkins
that
is
happens?
redshirting Cayden, Dame, and then Nick Kamenya.
Yeah, but then what are the odds that happens when
the transfer portal is going to be alluring for them, and for, I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
And you look at the recruiting class they already have, and with the potential addition of a guy like Jordan Smith Jr.
Sure.
Like, we've said it before. There's only one basketball to go around. Now, like, I mean, I kind of said I don't expect Darren Harris to be on this team next year, kind of with the way his role is diminished. So you start looking, and it's like, all right, Cameron Boozer's gone. Does Cayden Boozer potentially follow him as well? Or like, will they break off and go on their separate paths and eventually meet up in the NBA in a couple of years? Because I still think Cayden needs time to get reps and develop at the college level, but Cameron's a national player of the year and going to be a top 3 pick. So there's a lot of conversations to be had about the offseason with the decisions of these guys and what's going to happen. But I think everyone's focused right now with what they're going to do on the court for the next 6 weeks.
For sure. And got to find a way to, chase banner number 6 there inside Cameron Indoor, looking for ACC win number 7 this weekend when they take on Wake Forest. Noon Eastern tip-off tomorrow. We'll see how Duke fares in that one. Kevin, it is great to see you as always, my friend. Tell people about all the different ways they can support you in your work.
Well, over at Ball Durham, you could catch all my work on this Duke basketball team, even on the Duke football team. And speaking about the Duke football team, I don't know if I expected this much content in late January regarding the Blue Devils football team.
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are. It feels like daily now. More stuff's coming out, but you can come listen to all the updates that I have over there on the Believe in Duke Football podcast, which you can find on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. JJ, I'm very opinionated, not just because it's Duke and Duke football, but just on the absurdity of the portal and NIL, especially in college football, because we're even seeing it now in college basketball where professionals are coming back. And I've never read so much about TROs in a week than I have this week with Darian Mensah and then add in Charles Bediako from Alabama basketball. It's just been crazy.
Yeah, and us sports fans, again, me having the broadcast journalism degree, as I've said 100 times, and I know that's the avenue that you've gone as well, Kevin. Here I am having to do, what is TRO? Chase down these acronyms. Oh, temporary restraining order. Like we're learning. We're becoming, more smart. Look at my grammar that I'm showing off here at the end. Get out of here, Kevin. Let's get into the weekend, pal. See you soon. That's our pal, Kevin Connelly. My grammar is not up to par for today's show, but I'd love for you guys to leave us a 5-star rating and review on the Apple Podcast platform. It is 5-Star Friday. Shout out. Gumby for Life left us a 5-star review this week. Left us 5 stars, and all they said was Cam Boozer. So thank you, Gumby, for that one. Duke Matters, an account that recently left us a 5-star rating and written review. M. Hopman 31, absolutely spot on. I love every minute of Locked On Blue Devils. JJ Jackson always on point with every topic discussed every single episode of the podcast show. Thank you guys for those 5-star reviews. If you want to shout out in future episodes, all you have to do, go to the Apple Podcast platform, type out that 5-star rating, and we'll give you that review. That'll do it for today's show. As always, go Duke. I'll talk to you soon. My name is JJ Jackson. Thank you and good day.